Welcome to Intro Skippers, where an entertainment journalist and an entertainer are friends who love streaming entertainment, and we talk about it, and you're there. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Horcher.
Hi, I'm Jason Charles Miller.
So today we are talking about a guilty pleasure show for me because Jason made me watch Saturday Night, the movie, twice. But also I want to see if we can actually talk about a reality docuseries on this show.
Yeah. So I made you watch a movie twice that you didn't like. So in retaliation to punish me, you made me watch a show about a bunch of beautiful women. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, and you really get to care about them.
Oh!
No, it's just a show that I like. Mainly, like, you like this? Okay, well, I like this. It's not really punishment. But before we get there, what did you do this week? What did you work on?
I'm going to have to look at my calendar to remember because there were so many things. I shot a music video yesterday.
That's cool.
That no one's going to see till next year because it was for a project, not my project, a project that I'm involved with, but it's actually coming out next year. So
I can guess that the director is not someone I know.
It might be someone you know, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I can't say who it is. Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's not, Martin Scorsese or anything, but
I mean, like someone I know personally.
Yeah, it could be. It could definitely be. But also, we took one of our dogs to rattlesnake aversion training this weekend.
To make them stay away from rattlesnakes?
Yeah, and they have real rattlesnakes out there. So that you take them to this field.
Bad.
Yeah, well, they're in cages, right? So you're teaching the dogs to not want to be near rattlesnakes or snakes. You let them smell it. You let them feel the snake vibe and then teach them to not like that. And at least on the day, it looked like it worked really well.
So they see a rattlesnake and what happens? Do you make a loud sound or...
They get, they put a little shock collar on them.
Oh, that's mean.
Well, but you only have to shock them a couple times and then they get it. And then what's meaner though? Shocking them a couple times or them getting bit by a rattlesnake, right?
It's like a book I read when I was a child about the prairie, and the grandma was trying to get the mom to make the baby's hand burn on the stove to teach it not to touch the stove.
Exactly.
Is it like that?
Yes. Very much like that.
Well, I don't know. I've never owned a dog. So what I did this week was I hosted the Firefox podcast, Outside the Fox, which is on now. I'm prepping to film another one tomorrow. Check that out. I did some voiceovers and then some pickups because I messed up for the IGN recap of Squid Game in front of season 3. So I actually have seen most of season 3 already.
What do you think?
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can give impressions, but I'm not going to tell you what's in it.
No, I wouldn't expect that.
I've seen 5 out of 6 episodes. They withheld the finale from press, unfortunately, which makes me think something wild is going to happen.
They seem to do that a lot, I've noticed, being your friend. And when you get press screeners, you're like, I didn't get the finale.
And they're like, that's on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And Wednesday, which is tomorrow, if you're listening or watching this as the day it's supposed to come out, which is Tuesday, I'm posting the first segment I did of a new series for the Grant E. Mahar STEAM Foundation. I do their social videos.
Great.
So look for that, people.
We both love Grant. If
you want to learn about STEAM education in honor of our friend Grant.
Yes. A very noble charity, and I'm glad that it so many friends of ours picked up the mantle and are, planting it in the ground. Yeah.
You know, you got to do your best.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into the show this week. It is America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. It is streaming on Netflix. There are 2 seasons. The first released in June of 2024, and the second released just last weekend around the same time. One could believe that this is the time of year they're going to just be releasing them from now on.
Yeah.
And then I had you watch it, but of course you couldn't watch it all because it's 14 episodes and they're not short. But tell me about your thoughts so far.
So I watched all I watched episode 1, season 1, and then part of episode 2. And then I watched episode 1, season 2. And I answered some of my own questions. But it, obviously it's sort of the recap introduction episode of the whole thing. I did some research myself, though, and I found out that there actually has been 16 seasons of sort of a different edited, probably different approach to this called, I think it was called like Making the Team.
Yeah, it aired on CMT, I think. So obviously I've never seen that, but from what I've heard, the
obviously
vibe is very different. Well, this isn't okay. I'm going to be clear now. I am not a football fan. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a dancer.
CMT is country music television.
I don't listen to country music.
What? I'm out of here.
Okay, see ya. So we are watching the show because I wanted to watch it because I like it a lot. I've seen both seasons now. I just shot through season 2 over the weekend. And I really like it, despite having no interest in football or sports in general. I don't have a background in cheerleading beyond elementary school. I was on the pep squad, and then my personality changed. And
you're like, now I'm on the no pep squad.
Now I'm mad at this. No, I just, it's just not really in my interests. But this show is so interesting because of the dynamic of the women. I love that it was fully about them, and there's just no football in it. We don't talk about the players, what they do, the coach, the games. We only focus on the girls. It's kind of like that teen movie, Bring It On, with Kirsten Dunst.
Right. Yeah.
That's my level of being into this. But I really like the women in this. Well, I like some of the women in this. I don't love the leadership, but we'll get into that later. Jason, how are you feeling about this show, having only just been introduced to it?
So I was surprised that you recommended it, honestly, because I know you pretty well. And I know that, you're not into sports. As far as I know, you're not into competitive dance. You're not into a lot of those kind of things. So it's like, really? There must be something compelling about this show that makes Kim Horcher want to watch it, right?
It's a good show. It's just a good show about people.
It is a good show. I was really, I was sucked right in. And, they also do a really good job of giving the women a lot of respect. Like they don't sexualize them in any way in at least in the episodes that I saw. They're just like, this is about dance. This is about the crowd. This is about, the charities that we do in the community. This is about what we do for a lot of different people, like making people happy. One person said, my job is to make people happy. Now, what I really didn't get into, because they only touched on it in the first few episodes, is the pay. I understand that's a big thing.
We got to get to that. I gotta work my way up to that, actually, because that is something that drove me crazy in this. It's such a complex picture that we're looking at, because we have the show, and the squad itself has a weird gender politics sort of balance in there about, these women, they have so much strength and discipline and skill, but at the same time, they're conforming to these norms largely perpetuated by the leadership of the team.
Right.
And it's difficult to deal with, because we also have, like you mentioned, this is the part that drives me crazy, is how little they get paid. I mean, they changed it later on. That's the big spoiler reveal of season 2, is eventually the girls are able to push and get a 400% increase in their pay, which is great, because what they were getting before was something like $15 to $20 an hour during practices, $500 per game. I get paid so much more to be doing what I do, and I'm not busting my hips and body and on the whole time the way they are. In season 1, one of the women gets hip surgery. She's in her late 20s. You should not be getting hip surgery in your late 20s, but it's because she's been busting her ass actually her hips. And she's been giving it her all. And for what? You know, they get treated like they're replaceable. They get treated like what they do is not valuable. Something that drove me up the wall in season 2. I mean, we have the leadership is Kelly, Judy, and Charlotte. Charlotte is like technically the head of the cheerleaders. Her father owns the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Kelly and Judy work more with the girls on a more granular level. Judy is the head choreographer and originally joined the team in 1980, which is over 40 years ago. Kelly is the DCC director since 1991 and was also a former cheerleader, 84 to 89. And they're both, one, constantly body shaming, two, really harshly critiquing these girls for almost, I get it. You want perfection and you want dance, but the way they criticize them is they'll put in dog whistles for "you are fat," which, by the way, none of these girls are fat. They'll say, "Oh, she was soft," or "she was heavy," which makes me crazy. They insist on them smiling at them and saying, "Yes, ma'am," which I guess is a Southern thing. Jason, is it?
It is. It's a Southern thing. And let me jump in just for 1 second. I saw in episode 1, they were talking about, she looks like she has a little extra weight in her face.
Shut up, ladies. Okay. No, they don't. All of these women are gorgeous and they conform to conventional beauty standards. Okay. So calm down. Calm down.
Which is extremely difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
I did think
the coaching environment is so toxic. And they work them so hard. So, I mean, getting to the money that you were talking about, Jason, these women, they can't live on what they're being paid as Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. So they often have 2, sometimes 3 jobs to stay afloat. However, it's a very demanding schedule and they just get so overworked and burnt out. And it's obvious why.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I did see something about how a lot of their rules were made in like 1960 or something. Like they're sort of living to the same rules that just, it was a different time back then. Some rules are made to be
Time
improved.
to modernize.
Yeah. I did think there was one humorous moment in episode 1 of season 1 where they were talking about everybody with a K name.
I don't remember that, but why don't you tell me?
So there's Kaylee, Callie, Carly, Kylie, Kayla, Kelly with 2 E's, Kelsey, and Kat.
There's also Kim, Chloe, and Courtney with their younger sisters, Kendall and Kylie. No, I get what you're saying. That's wild. My name is Kim, and I'm okay with this.
Yeah, there was no Kim. I was shocked.
Well, it's not really a common name. I think it's like getting to be an older lady name. I'm actually named after, I have the anglicized version of a Vietnamese name from my grandmother.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like an acclimated Vietnamese name, I guess. They gave me that instead of kimchi. But
okay.
I'm kind of glad they didn't because it's spelled like kimchi, like the fermented cabbage.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sorry. So going back to this, yeah, it sucks how these women are treated because they bring also so much value to the Cowboys. They are essentially the ambassadors. They go out to events all year, even when they're not cheering at games. They are at concerts. They are at community things. They're like going around the country to different things. The Dallas Cowboys are currently the most valuable sports franchise in the world, consistently breaking valuation records. I don't really know exactly what it is, but online estimates appear to be between 10 and 11 billion dollars. So yeah, you can afford to pay some of your most important members who bring value to your brand a living wage so they don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs and have this completely demanding, hip-breaking schedule. It's so wild. So I'm going to jump ahead, but we can go back and talk more granularly.
Sure.
there was a contract negotiation driven by veteran cheerleaders, Jada Armani and a few others in season 2. And they actually are shown to be pretty unsuccessful during season 2. But at the epilogue, it says actually they changed it. So now cheerleaders earn up to $75 an hour and about $1,600 per game, which could push annual earnings over $150,000, some say. A lot of this is could, up to, maybe, should. And
Right.
it's not really clear what. But I will say they still don't have health insurance. They deserve to be valued like the athletes they are. They are athletes. That's, it might not be a sport, but these women are athletes and they are working so hard every time.
There was an interview with Jerry Jones in episode 1, season 1, and he talked about how when he bought the team, they were a loss leader. The cheerleaders were a loss leader, and they turned the cheerleaders program around so that it earns more than $1 million per year on its own. It's its own entity. No, and I'm first of all, I'm sure it's more. Second of all,
It's way more.
if you're doing that, if you have a part of your organization that's doing that, then you need to pay the people a proper wage. So I'm glad if season 1 brought to light the fact that they weren't making the right amount of money. Hopefully that's what helped push it over the line. I hope there was like social recourse and a backlash from the viewers. Was there? Or
For me, there was. I think online for sure. I've only dabbled a little bit into the subreddit and a few online places, but people are largely outraged at how hard these women work, how they're expected to be perfect and get almost nothing in return. A consistent refrain from Kelly and Judy is, "Oh, it's an honor for you to be here." And
right.
I just love that you girls are so accomplished, meaning like, "Oh, you need to have 2 jobs so you'll be accomplished." Fuck you. I know I'm not supposed to swear on this podcast, but you know what? Pay them. You don't make football players take jobs at an office so that they can live. And it's like they're only accomplished because they're trying to survive. You only spend max 5-6 years as a cheerleader anyway. So those other jobs will be still there when they're done cheering. Pay them enough, pay them what they're worth. And we're still not there. I think it's a good step that they've taken because what they were being paid before was outrageous, but they deserve more. They deserve to be cared for. And there were so many moments in season 2 that made me so angry. There was one cheerleader named Amanda who was one of the most senior cheerleaders, and she was crying in a meeting with Kelly and Judy because she wanted to be making appearances, and they were pretty much, more or less, they admitted, in my opinion, that they punished her for standing up for better wages. And there's an interview actually where there's 2 of them talking to camera, and they say, "Well, it's a part-time job and we get paid like it." And then the interviewer asks, "How many hours a week do you work?" And they go, "Well, 40." 40 is a full-time job. 40 means you need to be compensated. You need to
Right.
have benefits for that. You need to be on salary for that. And then they try different methods to make money. One of them decides she's going to be an influencer. A few of them actually are trying to do that. And Judy just eye rolls at them. She goes like, "Is this going to last forever?" And it's like, lady, do you think being a cheerleader is going to last forever?
Yeah. Also,
They made me so angry. This
didn't
whole
they
season made me hate them, to be honest.
didn't they get in trouble for that too? Like for for putting too much on social media or something like that?
There's some pretty strict standards. One of them, I'll get into it, but in season 2, there is a little bit of a controversy toward the end. So one of the most senior cheerleaders, Shandi, who is a leader, and she's point in the triangles. And, this sounds dumb, but it's very important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds dumb for me to say that, but she's considered very high up. She has a little bit of a controversy because I think she invited a man into her room that she shared with other cheerleaders on a group trip. And then one of the cheerleaders told her husband, and he put it on social media. And then this other girl replaced Shandi to be the leader, Katiana. And then I guess there's drama with her too. I'm not going to get into it. I mean, you can go on the subreddit if you want the drama, but that's not really what I do. And then she ends up quitting after being offered a suspension for doing something online. And that's the most drama I think I'm going to get into for the show, because I don't
Okay.
think it's about that. If I wanted to watch Vanderpump Rules, I would. But yeah, there's a little bit of issues there. There were some parts of the direction I didn't love. Like, so in season 1, there's a girl who almost makes the team. Her name is Charlie. She's the
Right.
last one cut.
Mm-hmm.
She has red hair, and it's heartbreaking for her. And then she comes back in season 2, and she's like, all right, this is my dream. I'm going to do it this year. I almost died of a pulmonary embolism, and now I'm taking blood thinners so I don't die.
Yeah.
And I had to take time off from my rigorous dance schedule to do this. And she still made the team. But we don't focus on that. We instead focus on one of the cheerleaders' stupid husband, who is so annoying and cringe and not even on the team. Why?
Also, yeah, it was incredible. She even because that is in episode 1 of season 2, which I also watched.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she turned in her video with 7 minutes to spare, because 3 days before the video was due, she was still in the hospital.
Yeah.
So she made her video and gave it her all for like one take to be able to send that in with just enough time to get the audition. I mean, that's dedication. Some might call it madness, but I'm so glad that she made the team.
Every college assignment I ever did.
Except you weren't in the hospital.
Except way worse. And I wasn't busting my body after recovering in the hospital like Charlie was. So, I mean, these women work so hard, and they're so dedicated, and they're so talented. So anytime someone pushes them down by saying they're soft, or saying they don't deserve to be paid because they're so accomplished and they're proud of them for that, I just want to defend them, because they don't deserve that. They deserve to be treated like professional athletes, because they are professional athletes. Pay them.
Yeah. What's interesting too is, I'll give you a little bit of insight. So growing up in the Washington, D.C. area, my favorite team and the team in the area was the team that's now called the Washington Commanders. They had a different name when I was growing up, but I'll try my hardest not to say that name anymore. But the previous owner of that team, what he would do is, there was a whole scandal about the cheerleaders on that team, because he would, I mean, not to be like too rude or anything, but he would like pimp some of them out to some of his rich friends.
Like literally?
Like strongly suggested that they get together with his rich buddies, and there's a whole like court case about that now, so I don't want to say too much. So it would be great. I hope that maybe this could be what the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders accomplished. Maybe that can happen league wide, and there could even be a cheerleaders union for the cheerleaders on the other teams, because even though they're not as popular, there are cheerleaders on just about every NFL team, if not every NFL team.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, they have a meeting. We see a Zoom call of what is essentially a nascent union meeting of them trying to, consult an attorney and different representatives to help them be able to push for higher pay. It's a big issue in season 2. They do need that. It's so hard to do what they do. And at the same time, they have to smile. They have to be like friendly, like the girl next door. There's some really complicated gender dynamics here, where it's like, yeah, they're quote natural beauties, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. And then a lot of it is based around the male gaze, or, women, the women in charge of them, inflicting their internalized version of that to them, which is hugely outdated. And also, come on, you've had the same choreographer since how long? Decades?
1980? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's time to get a new choreographer. I mean, when you see their dance moves, I mean, a lot of them are great, But when you compare it to different teams, more modern teams, and their takes on dance, it looks a little outdated. I mean, Thunderstruck is hard to beat. That's the one that's breaking everyone's hips, by the way, because of that drop split they do at the end.
Oof.
Yeah. But it's very complicated, but at the same time what really shines through is these women who are kind and supportive of each other, who are just trying to do their best and working hard and really just showing off complete mastery of their art. And I want to cheerlead them. I want them to get everything they deserve.
That's great. I mean, yeah, you could see the sisterhood, you could see the camaraderie, even in the few episodes that I watched. And I could see that's why the show's so popular. My speculation on why they covered the cringe husband was probably because they were still trying to like rope in that your casual reality show viewer, but I don't know.
It's not about your dork ass husband. It's about you, girl. You should be the focus.
Is this the husband was this the one that I mean, I'm sorry, there was one that was like basically a cheerleader for Jesus. Was
Yeah,
it
that's
her
him.
husband? Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, you know what? I'm not going to say exactly what I think about him, but I will say the subreddit DCC Making the Team has some very funny jokes.
Okay. Well,
That's all I'll leave it there.
If Reddit's good for anything, it's good jokes, right?
I was reading them out loud to my husband and he was laughing a lot.
All right. I think I'm going to watch both seasons.
It's really good. I mean, if you have time, definitely.
Have they dropped all of season 2 already? Like, is it like they drop it all at the same time kind of deal?
Yeah, I've seen every episode.
All right.
I do like how much, I mean, I think both seasons are focused on the rookie girls who are trying to make the team. Also, this culture, this internal culture that is so wild for them to adhere to. And then it's like, so they have 36 spots total on the team each year. And they have rookies and veterans. Even if you made the team before, you have to audition again. And I think it's because they don't want you on the team if you're old. And I think that's what it is. Or in their words, soft, heavy. I think that's what it is. And they all have to audition over. And they go through a rigorous training camp where even the ones who got accepted through the audition get dropped and dropped and dropped until we reach 36 girls.
Yeah. They accept, I think from what I remember, they accept 70 to actually show up. Mm-hmm. And then they whittle the 70 down to 45, and then 45 is the camp. And then they have to get rid of 9 more to get to the final number of 36.
Yes. And it can be really grueling to get there. I mean, one of my favorite dancers in season 1 didn't make it, but I started following her on Instagram because I like her.
Did she come back for season 2, or she was just like, nah, I'm not going to do this again?
No, she went back to being an orthodontist.
Hey, I know which one you're talking about too.
Anisha Kula. She is an orthodontist who was on the Golden State Warriors dance team.
She's a badass, and I can't believe they didn't pick her.
They messed up.
Yeah,
I think,
big time.
Honestly, I think there is some jealousy in there and some pretty messed up views on feminism in there. But I think they're going for a very specific kind of girl, and it's a girl who doesn't threaten them.
You mean the 2 leaders? Or
the 2 leaders. And then, well, I guess there's 3 leaders, but Charlotte's never there. She is completely disconnected from most of it. I think she only got put in charge of it because she's a woman and related to Jerry Jones.
Right. Well, Jerry Jones is her dad, and I'm assuming that she inherits the team, I guess, when Jerry retires.
Maybe not. Maybe he'll decide it's a man's job. I don't know. I mean, again, the gender dynamics on the show can be very frustrating. But what shines through is these athletes, this sisterhood of athletes. And I like them very much. I mean, did you get attached to any of the quotes characters in season 1?
I was interested in the one who they kind of focused on her a lot. Her bedroom was all Dallas Cowboys stuff.
Was it Victoria?
Was she from where? She was from Texas, right?
She's blonde,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
and
mom was a cheerleader.
right. And weren't they
Yeah,
like, is she a little too blonde this year? Like they were kind of like, they criticize everybody on this stuff. Uh,
yeah.
I thought she was a compelling character only because of like how into it she was, and I'm assuming that maybe she didn't make it, or I know that she was a veteran, but it seemed like she was on the cusp, unless that's just what the editors wanted us to think.
I can tell you,
Yeah, please.
she's on the team, but she
Okay.
wants to be a leader, and they just never give it to her, and they just say, this isn't for you. And it's like it becomes clear her mental health is suffering because of this position. I mean, it's hard. She's a complicated character because it's like, who is causing this pain for her? Is it the cheerleaders as a standard, as an organization? Is it her mother being so pushy? Is it her own issues? What is it? So at the end, she says, I'm going to come back to be try out again. But in between seasons, she decided to leave, and she moves to New York to pursue her dream of being a Rockette instead.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
at least she's got a good thing to put on the resume, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I think it's ultimately better for her to get away from this bubble because it really took a toll on her, it seemed.
Yeah.
I really liked Kelsey from season 1. She was like one of the leaders, and she was also a pediatric nurse by day.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. We don't
I mean,
see her at all in season 2. So hopefully she's doing well.
did she not come back?
No, because she retired. And then
Okay.
we only see a couple of returners. We see Victoria now and then in New York. We see Anna Kate. We see Charlie. We see Reese again. But I mean, it should be noted this show doesn't focus on all the girls. Some of the girls on the team don't get any lines whatsoever and almost no focus.
And who knows, maybe some of them didn't want to be featured. You never
It's
know.
true. I think some of them were, I think they were all allowed to opt out of Talking Heads, but
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened, to be honest. There were a few that I was like, oh, I want to hear from her. She seems funny. She seems fun, but we didn't really dig
never.
into that. But I really liked in season 2 the women who were fighting for better pay. There's a woman with alopecia named Armani, and like at some point she just takes off her wig and cheers with her bald head.
Well, like during a
And
game?
yeah, and it's
Wow.
like such a big step. I mean, that is really bold, and I'm glad that she could do that and share that about herself.
Yeah, that's great. And did she get in trouble? It seems like the way they.
No,
Oh,
it was
good.
for one game in particular. They were supposed to like do something like decorate their boots for a cause they care about, but she decided to do that for alopecia and then also take off her wig.
Good. Well, I'm glad that they, were okay with that.
Yeah. Well, they better have been.
I know,
Why
but
would
I mean, look at how old fashioned part of their ritual is, and their
I think in
rules.
season 2, they were very aware of how badly they came off in season 1, and they tried to come off as more progressive, cool, helpful people. Oh, but it sure didn't always shine through because some of the times I was most angry at them was this season for how careless and thoughtless and not empathetic they were to these women. I
Yeah,
think old habits die hard.
but hey, you know what? If the microscope is on them and it makes them act a little bit better, then great.
I just, honestly, I don't care how you act. I care what you do. And, you can pretend to be this friend, but you really need to be an ally if you're a true friend. I just thought of another thing that they did that made me furious, which was, I know you're sick of hearing this, but like they talk about the cheerleaders get, this day of like free stuff, and it's like they get nails, like press on nails for the game that they have to wear every game, and they get tans and they can get Botox and haircuts and makeups and fitness and diet plans. But it's like, and they're like, see how much we give them? I just wanted to make sure this was very generous. I consider it part of their compensation. And it's like, lady, that is basically their uniform that you force them to adhere to.
Yeah.
You know, like looking a certain way and upholding a certain aesthetic that is not natural or easy. You made that their uniform. So it's like, you do need to pay for that. And you need to not pat yourself on the back so hard.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like if we keep going, I'm going to bring up more points that I'm angry about how these women deserve better.
Okay. Well, well, I think we have a good vibe on the show, and I can't wait to watch more. Now I'm kind of intrigued. Another show that we hinted at last week that we're going to be getting to, probably not this week, is The Gilded Age, because The Gilded Age is back. It's back.
I watched the season premiere. I think you were a little busy with work, and I was
pretty busy, so I will watch that this week. And
oh my gosh,
I can't wait to talk about it with you.
A treat, everyone. Okay, everyone else, join Jason and watch The Gilded Age, episode 1 and episode 2, because the next time we see you, both will be out. I have notes on it already. I had such a fun time. The stakes have never been lower. Yeah, it's one of those. It's very well, sometimes it is frivolous, and sometimes it handles important issues, and sometimes it handles important issues frivolously. I would say anything regarding the Black people storyline is like, oh, did you really think that was the right move? Is that the heroic thing you think it is? And it often isn't. But
yeah, we've discussed that in previous seasons. Yeah. But hey, you know what? I mean, just to watch if you're a fan of like architecture, you can watch that show and just enjoy the scenery the entire time.
Or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Or this point in American history of decadence and frivolity and robber barons.
And like, I don't know, women not getting the credit they deserve. Like the woman who designed the Brooklyn Bridge, and her husband got all the credit.
Well, I actually listened to the official podcast for them this weekend because Julian Fellows was on, along with Christine Brinkley and Cynthia Nixon, to talk about the premiere. And Fellows largely regards the show as being like a great note in American history that Americans just don't look to with as much fondness as he does. And he said he finds joy in writing women who find their way despite all these horrific constraints around them. So maybe I'll try watching it again through that lens.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I do care about women's rights and women's wrongs.
Well, I only care about women's rights because I'm an ally.
No, it's a good bad show, or is it a bad good show?
I don't know, but we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, we love it. We love this stupid bullshit.
Okay. All right.
All right, everyone. Take care. Watch everything. We love you, and we will see you in a week, especially since this is video and you can see us.
Yeah. So you will see us.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what we'll look like next week. Okay.
Probably very similar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Intro Skippers with Jason Charles Miller and Kim Horcher is produced and edited by Kim Horcher and Jason Charles Miller. The name order doesn't really matter. Additional writing by Kim Horcher. Theme song and incidental music by Jason Charles Miller. Take it away, me. You can rate and review this show, 5 stars only please, anywhere you'd like, and you might find your review read on a future episode. Got a question? Email us at introskipperspod@gmail.com. That too could be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Intro Skippers on your favorite podcast platform, but preferably one we're actually on. All right, thanks for getting this far. Here's a special treat just for you. I'm gonna stop talking.